caused by impaired driving is not an accident.
Hello and welcome to Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Lynn Hammond. Tonight we have brothers Niall and Brendan Hickey of the Newfoundland Embassy. Then Ainsley Hawthorn, author of Land of Many Shores, will join us. And finally, Steph Kean, entrepreneur. But after these messages, we'll be back with Niall and Brendan.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Hey everyone, it is Jason Piercy, host of Out of the Fog on Tuesday nights at 7:30. You're definitely going to want to watch because you never know what I'm going to get into. It's all about community. It's all about you. So watch Tuesday, 7:30.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
And we're back with Niall and Brendan Hickey of the Newfoundland Embassy. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
No problem, thank you.
So, it's a pretty big deal to take over a building like Lars. I mean, for me, growing up in St. John's, it was the place for ice cream and, the fruit stand. I mean, it was a pretty iconic place. And you guys decided to, kind of turn it into this, I'm going to call it a social house, because it's really more than a bar, isn't it?
It's a public house.
It is,
so
right?
It's for everybody.
So how did you come up with the concept? I mean, how did you decide, in a town of so many bars, why did you decide that this was the path for you?
Well, the building does have a lot of history. Lars has been around since, I believe, 1956 as a fruit store, and they've been selling those famous custard cones the entire time. So when Chris Andrews and Tom Nemec, the previous owners, approached us with the opportunity to take over, Niall and I had a bit of a different vision and experience of what we wanted to provide at the Newfoundland Embassy. So we were really lucky to put that all together.
And I mean, bar work wasn't new to you. I mean, you'd worked in the hospitality industry and you thought that you could do it a different way.
Yeah, he started at, I think it was Shamrock as a door guy. And
10 years ago.
Yeah, and moved up to Aaron's Pub and became the manager there. He ended up hiring me on as the door guy at Aaron's at 19 years old. My first shift, I got punched in the face.
Oh, there you go.
You learned pretty quick.
I did.
And that's why you close at 2 o'clock.
There you go. Exactly.
So you've done some significant renos lately. Tell us about that.
So we took over in December 2019. So it's been a tough time period since then. When Snowmageddon hit, we went, oh, well, it can't really get much worse. It kind of did. But the one thing that we did was we took the time while we were closed to start putting work into the building. So we started off with our main floor, main renovations. We redid our bar. And the second shutdown, we moved upstairs, where we turned the upstairs into a pool room. And Niall did a lot of that work himself as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say, in our renovations, our friends Pat and John, they did a lot of work with us. Really two good friends. Our friends and family stepped up a lot. Our regulars, they helped out as much as they could too. So it was like a big collective group.
And I have to say, I mean, and I admit that I haven't been there. Got to tell you, I haven't gone anywhere very much in the last 2 years. So, I mean, in fairness. But it looks like almost a quasi-family, it seems like your regulars are really regulars. Like they are. It's a place where if people are consistently going, it's more than just the once in a while kind of people.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a lot of support from the community.
Yeah.
And that goes a really long way. We have a pub, like we say, that we want it to be for everybody. We want a safe, inclusive space for the community, and And I think we are there with the support.
And so you give back to the community too, right? I mean, I know Jason, you know, our host and friend of all here is a good buddy of yours.
He is,
and you know, we're all trying to help him right now. So you guys did something to kind of help out with that as well.
Yeah, we put off a benefit for him last Saturday. Just a full day of music. A lot of Jason's friends and family came and joined, helped us put it off. We had a silent auction upstairs. A lot of regulars, a lot of companies donated items for it. And it went incredible. It went really, really well. Everyone had a good time. Everyone enjoyed it. The silent auctions, it was near impossible to win something because people just kept putting down money every time, which was amazing to see.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. I'm really happy we did that for Jason and his family.
And all of the musicians donated their time for this too, so that was really generous. Like, it's just a really good example of how the community kind of comes together and rally around a person, especially like Jason, who's so well known in a lot of circles.
Well, that's it, and he gives so much back to the community. I mean, he's always doing something for somebody, right? So it was really great to see you guys.
It's the least we could do. He's been a great friend. So,
So you've kind of done some specialty drinks and stuff. I'm hearing, Strawberry Fields. You know, my dear friend Lori just says this is absolutely fantastic, and apparently she was one of the first people to try it. She was. So what is so spectacular about this drink?
Strawberry Fields, it's incredible. We use Absolute Strawberry Vodka, which is delicious. One of the cool things was our manager, Nick Pertosi. He's like the brains behind our cocktail menu.
Okay.
And we had an opportunity, Corby's put out a cocktail book, an opportunity to apply to get a cocktail published, and this one got published.
Oh, great.
Which is really, really cool. We did not expect it to happen, especially over 200 recipes, only 4 from Newfoundland, and we got in, so.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And so is kind of cocktails something that you're known for, or is it, like, I guess, you know, when, you know, people think Newfoundland Embassy, if they haven't been there, they might just be thinking kind of beer and Irish music, right? But that's not necessarily what your spot is at all.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
We do have 29 beer on tap, which is some of the most around. So
it's all good.
If you like beer, you're there. But one of the first things we decided when we took over was to create a cocktail menu of just some small select cocktails.
Yeah.
We make all of our syrups in-house, and as Niall mentioned, Nick Pertosi is the brains behind this. He's a very talented mixologist, and as well, we also integrated our Lars custard cones into our cocktail menu.
Oh,
we have a
I
Lars.
needed to know that.
It's a Lars White Russian, and it's the best White Russian you'll ever have.
I can imagine. It's like a meal.
Yeah, it's great. It is.
Yeah,
it's like
comparable to Guinness, right? Like it'll fill you up.
Yeah, 100%.
So I also hear that you do your own marketing. So who's the punny one? Apparently, one of you is very punny.
I am the punny one. I am the king of bad jokes. I absolutely love them.
Oh, good, good.
So he's our social media guru, as I would call it.
You
I
gotta
kind
have
of stay
one.
away from that, right?
Yeah.
But he's been doing a great job.
Yeah.
And most of the marketing that we've done by ourselves
It's really been organic. Like it's just kind of, and I have to say, you know, in terms of customer selfies and customer driving your brand, I mean, you are among the best in town.
Thank you very much.
Your people, you know, your regulars and whoever seem to be really doing a great job for you too.
And that just speaks to the community support.
Yeah.
Again, you know, for sure.
So what's next? What's next for you guys?
We have events planned. We just did a book fair there yesterday.
Oh.
We've hosted many comedy shows. Liam Small is a good friend of ours. He's hosting a comedy show there in December, and we also have drag shows planned.
Oh.
Crystal Queer is the lady behind it. She's planning one in late December too. And so the drag shows are wild. They're absolutely amazing.
So much fun.
They're so much fun. We can't get over it. It's incredible. So
that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really happy to be here.
Really appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. So for all of you there at home, if you haven't been to the Newfoundland Embassy, check it out. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Carl Wells, getting ready to record another edition of Carl Wells Point to Point. It's a program where I chat with members of our community, and they talk candidly about their lives and careers, from their earliest dreams to their greatest triumphs. I think you'll find it informative and entertaining. Please join us for Carl Wells Point to Point, right here on Rogers TV.
I like to rock climb because it's challenging. These are my helping hands. It's important for me to have helping hands so I can do everything. I like to play the piano and swim.
With the support of the War Amps, Sophia has all the tools that she needs to succeed.
I love reaching my goals.
So to all the people that have donated to the Key Tag service, I just say thank you.
The helper hands help me, and the worms gives me a helping hand too.
Hi, and we're back, this time with Dr. Ainsley Hawthorne. So glad to have you today.
I'm delighted to be here, Lynn. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, and so, you know, I follow you on social media. You know, I've been watching some of the interesting things that you've been doing with CBC and others over, you know, particularly during the pandemic. You know, I've really, you know, been interested in some of the things that you're talking about and some of the things you're doing. But, you know, today we're specifically here to talk about Land of Many Shores. But first, I'd really like to talk about your area of study. Specifically, you know, you're a historian, but it's a very specific way of studying history related to the senses. Is that right? So maybe you can kind of put that in context for us.
Yes, so I'm a cultural historian and a sensory scholar. And what it means to be a sensory scholar is that instead of thinking of the human senses as primarily medical phenomena, you look at the way they influence culture and society. So there are a few different ways you do that as a historian. One is by looking at the way people thought about their sensory experiences over time and how that changed and how it was different from how we do today. So in our society, we have a hyper-visual culture where everyone is sort of reading and watching and looking at things on TV or on social media. It's very, very visual and image-based, whereas cultures in the past, scent played a much more important role. So gardens, instead of being primarily about the colors of flowers, were primarily about the smells of flowers. But another aspect of it is that we want to think about the lived experience of people in the past in a more holistic way. So instead of just thinking about, it's traditionally when people imagine, well, what do historians do? They think about, well, they study who was ruling what when. But many historians like myself who do cultural history are really more interested in, well, what was it like to actually be a person who lived in the ancient Middle East? What was the environment around you like? What was your daily life like? And when we think about things like the sensory environment, that can give us a better understanding of what was really like to live in the past.
So it's more than, you know, so much more than that kind of, like you said, who ruled what, when. You know, it's more than that political experience. It's more than the class experience. It's about how what their lived experience was like at the time, you know, throughout the different, I guess, you know, social and economic positions.
That's right. When I was younger, I thought I had no interest in history because I'm not interested in political history.
Right.
You know, I have like a working knowledge of it. You have to as a historian, but I don't really want to look at, you know, kings and ruling dynasties and that sort of stuff. That's not interesting to me personally. But I realized, oh, what really fascinates me is what people believed and what people thought in the past, and how it's very similar to us in some ways, but very different in other ways. That really motivates me and inspires me, and I love to introduce people to it today.
And, you know, it challenges what often we typically believe to be true. You know, in the case of Newfoundland and Labrador, how it's marketed, how it's branded, you know, how we've, you know, I've heard you speak about, you know, kind of that positioning of, you know, the island in particular kind of as, you know, Little Ireland, you know, with that whole, you know, kind of established settler English, Irish history. And, you know, now as, you know, we're talking about the need for immigration, and it's like we're not diverse here already, but we are. And so in comes Land of Many Shores. And, you know, it's, and I've skimmed, I haven't had a chance to do a full read.
Well, it's brand new, it just came out.
Yeah, so we had a little trouble. We managed to get our hands on a copy, but, you know, it's really about the full experience of this place. and who lives here, and we're already really diverse.
Absolutely, and the book was inspired by kind of my frustration about how we're always talking about diversity as though it's new to Newfoundland and Labrador, instead of something that was here already here for thousands of years with our many different indigenous cultures in this place. And also that we have settler cultures other than the Irish and English that have been here for centuries and played a very important role, like French culture, Lebanese, Chinese have all been very important long-term settler cultures that have also influenced this place.
And so, you know, you use some of the quotes here, local businesses adapt to the needs of a multicultural workforce. You know, conference shines the spotlight on inclusion as our demographics change. And, you know, but the reality is we're quite, you know, comprehensive and creative and different. And so I guess that's where the motivation came from.
It is. We're diverse, but we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, our English and Irish heritage, our Anglican and Catholic heritage, that's part of the picture, but it ignores another part of the picture that's equally important. So initially the book, I was inspired by wanting to capture the cultural diversity of the province, but as I started working on it, I thought I'd broaden it out to include other diversities. So there are also voices from the 2S LGBTQ community, for people with disabilities, mental illnesses, or addictions, people who are neurodiverse, and also people who worked in the sex industry, who've been incarcerated, who've been hospitalized at the Waterford Hospital, for instance, because I think all of those aspects of Newfoundland and Labrador society are ones that are frequently kind of hidden or swept under the rug, and we don't fully incorporate them into our sense of ourselves as a community.
And so from your perspective as a historian, I mean, is that something that cultures do, or is it something unique to here? Like, is it?
In terms of kind of like flattening, I'd call it flattening your culture.
Yeah.
I think a lot of cultures do it, and for a very specific reason, which is nationalism, creating a national identity. So generally when you get this overarching view of sort of, we're going to define ourselves in a very specific and limited way. It's to create a national identity for political reasons. And I think that's exactly what happened here. So in the book, I talk about how I think where our idea of Newfoundland being Irish Catholic, Irish Catholic, English Anglican, and that kind of being the root of our identity started was with the foundation of the Newfoundland Native Society in 1840. And when I say natives...
It's not Indigenous.
It's not Indigenous. It was English and Irish settlers who were born here and frustrated because they felt politically the people who were coming over from England and ruling Newfoundland didn't have their best interests at heart as people born locally. So they created this organization to represent their political interest, and they wanted to create an identity of themselves as natives of the province. So they created a flag that eventually developed into the pink, white, and green that we know today. They define themselves as being of English, Irish, and Scottish origin. We've kind of lost the Scottish. But they completely excluded all the Indigenous people who were here at that time, all of the French and other settler cultures that were here. They also excluded women in the beginning from those meetings, rural people, so they talked about rural people, but did not actually have them at the meetings in St. John's. And I think that is so similar to how we still think of Newfoundland and Labrador culture today, that it is sort of based on what the urban middle class experiences. We think of ourselves as English and Irish, and it all goes back to those ideas that were kind of planted in our culture when people were fighting for political rights.
And so how did people feel when you approached them to contribute to this book?
I got a great response. People were really excited about the idea.
And how many is it? A couple of dozen?
25.
25. Okay.
It's 25 contributors, including myself, so 24 people other than myself. And people were really enthused about the idea. Pretty much everyone that I approached said, oh, I have a story that I want to tell.
Yeah.
You know, there's something I want to get out into the world that I wish people knew about, and it drives me crazy that people don't know about it.
Thank you, Ainsley, so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me on.
And so for you at home, when you're looking for your next book to read, please look for Land of Many Shores, edited by Ainsley Hawthorne. And we'll be right back after these messages.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
And we're back, this time with Steph Kean of New Aura Athletics. Hi, Steph. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. So, beautiful clothing line, some of which you've brought to show us today. Yes. But you know what? People just don't start out by deciding, I'm going to create a clothing line. What was your path, to the development of this line?
Okay, well, I'm a gym owner, and I've been a gym owner for quite some time now. I've been in the fitness industry for 9 years, and I've always found that people struggle with maintaining wellness. And so I always felt like I have to do something bigger. So I started a coaching company, Kaizen Theory, that helps people really dig deep to see why they're not well. And even still, women just are so judgmental of themselves and so critical of themselves. So I wanted to create a brand of some kind that women could kind of step into, right? So I started this clothing company, and it just kind of hit me one day, New Aura. Step into your new aura. So when I said that to myself, that really resonated with me, right? Because I came from a past where I was bullied as a child, and my self-esteem was very low, right? So
when we bring that into our adult lives.
Yeah, and that really affects us, right? So I found that I really wanted to create that for women so that they could feel that they could step into that new aura and kind of leave that self-doubt behind. I mean, social media can be very toxic.
Yeah.
Very toxic, right? We look at all these girls with abs and perfect genetics and all this stuff, and we criticize ourselves, right? So.
And all the filters.
And all the filters. It's not real. Like, some of it's real, most of it's not real. So I really just wanted to create that brand of the idea of stepping into your new aura, which means stepping into who you are. Not being afraid to be bold and be you. And that's huge for me, because that's something that I had to really adopt as an adult, because I found that it was holding me back, that I was never good enough, right? And a lot of women relate to that, never feeling good enough. So the New Aura brand is all about women supporting women, and women can't support women unless they support themselves.
True.
Right? Or else
well,
criticizing.
You know what? And it's funny, because I'll often say to my daughter, you know what? Whatever so-and-so person did, it's not really about you. It's about how they feel about themselves.
I can't believe you just said that, because I said that a week ago.
Oh, really?
Because I got a little girl on the way in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I said to myself, I really want to teach her that when people are portraying something at her, like anger and hatred, it has nothing to do with you, sweetheart. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's that inner critic, right? And that's what we're really trying to get rid of, because we need more kindness, we need more love. I mean, people are so mean. People can be mean, but they're not inherently mean.
No.
They're not born mean.
No.
It's because there's just this inner demon where they're never good enough, and they're jealous of people, and they're criticizing people. Let's just let go of all that.
And so what are they saying to you? What are women saying to you when they're, why are they choosing this line? So, you've got, a meaningful brand behind it, but, maybe, like, what is about your products specifically that they're saying that they like? Like, maybe you could just show me that beautiful peach pair of pants there.
That's a great question. So I was researching the appropriate material and everything that you needed to have for that buttery, soft feel. Just feel that there.
Oh, wow.
Right? So
I love this high waist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, is we want to feel like things are kept in. And I mean, this right here is the dusk crew neck long sleeve. And I'm pregnant and it's covering my belly, you know? So like, I have quite the belly here, but it's making you feel confident, right? So you can pick the piece that you want, like the bra. I have this bra on right now, and it's keeping everything in.
Yeah.
Right? And those pairs of
comfortable and confident.
Comfortable and confident.
And, you know, and a good, healthy range of sizes.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean, how often, you know, do you go to buy something and the sizes are not normal?
Exactly.
You know, like they're not made for normal, average people, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, tell us about your sizing and how, you know, and how people can access your products.
Yes, okay. So the sizing is, it goes all the way up to 2XL right now, but I'm really big on taking client suggestions. Like if people want to see a broader array of sizes, let me know. I'm very interactive and accepting of suggestions, but right now it's up to 2XL. The fit is pretty true to size. Now, the more of the sculpture stuff and these leggings here are a little more compression, right? So it depends on what kind of fit you're looking for.
Right.
And then like these types of clothes, like the Barely There tank and whatnot, is a little bit of a looser fit. But you can find what you're looking for. You can find what you're comfortable with. And you can find everything on the website on newauraathletica.ca.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I know when my daughter watches this episode, she's going to be running to order for Christmas, I'm sure. So thank you so much, and you know we wish you all success in the months to come, and health in the months to come.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back after these messages.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
Thanks so much to all of our guests for joining us this evening. And join us next time on Out of the Fog.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
This is Rogers TV.
What is this? In heaven's name. What's happening? What year is it?
It's 2021.
1956. That's what year it is. Back up!
Found myself 30 years in the future.
I was taken, or it was something. I don't know.
What am I to do?
You're not alone.
Leonard Thompson, 13 years old, diabetes mellitus, 65 pounds.
Starve the child to let them live? The treatment's as cruel as the disease.